Hello, you are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney theme parks podcast, and this is show number 227 for Sunday, the 16th of September 2018.
Where dreams begin.
Hello and welcome to the Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my good friend Jayne Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Hello there, Jayne.
Hello there, Michelle, and how are you? Back into normality?
It's slowly getting that way, I must admit, full week ahead this week and trying to get myself all organised. It's taken a toll on me though, lovey, I must admit.
I'm going to say jet lag's a wonderful thing, isn't it? Not.
Well, I made the bad mistake on Friday. I had to go and have the little lump that had formed in my arm removed. And I sort of misguidedly thought, it'll be just like when I've been going to get it drained, where I'll be sat on the surgeon's sort of like medical couch in his office, and he'll just sort of like put me a little bit of anaesthetic, some local anaesthetic on it, and whip it out and it'll be fine. Oh, no. No, I was admitted to hospital. I was in a room. I was given those stretchy special underwear to wear.
Sexy.
A gown that fastens up at the back. And then I had to walk into theatre. Normally, in the UK, we have like an anaesthetic room. And then when you're asleep, you go into the theatre. And you never really see the theatre. No, I got walked into the theatre and got laid out on the bed. And then there's a special bed for my arm. And then they sterilised it and draped me so I couldn't see what was going on. And then they had anaesthetic all pumped into my arm so I couldn't feel anything. And then after about 15 minutes or so, they started the procedure. It was really surreal. The best I can do to describe it is it felt like somebody washing up in my arm.
Well, actually, I have a very similar story. I had a cyst removed from my neck, and it sounds exactly the same as what I had done. It's a very weird feeling because you're aware of stuff happening, but you're not aware of stuff happening. It's bizarre.
Admittedly, the last time something similar to this happened, the end result was a baby because it was a C-section and I felt nothing from sort of like bust downwards. But obviously the only thing that was delivered was this walnut-shaped creamy white lump, and he said, "Oh, would you like to see it?" And I said, "Mark, I would have liked to have seen the operation, but you wouldn't let me." So he showed me the little thingy, which he wouldn't let me keep, which I was really annoyed at because I was going to go and scare people at work with. And then I got all patched up, but it's been a lot more painful than I sort of thought. And then when you think, well, I was up at the hospital at 6 o'clock in the morning on the Friday. The Saturday was the Disunplugged London meet. Which necessitated me leaving at the house at 6:15 in the morning and not getting back till 12 o'clock midnight. But it was well worth it because Angie was there. I got to meet Kevin. I met Paul Washington and Craig from Diz After Dark. And then Charlotte Snowdon came and Liz Reed did and Mitchell. And it was so good. Some of those people I've never met before. And we've spoken online for like years. Like Kevin's followed the podcast for absolute years, and it was just so lovely to go up to him and give him a big hug. And if it, the day did fly by, I must admit, it would have been a lot better just to sit down and have coffee and just chill. But most of the time we were sort of like wandering around the Disney store getting really giddy, and then we had an hour and 3/4 walk to the Disney, which was at the other end of London.
Oh, so good exercise as well then.
I tell you what, I think I ended up walking 14 miles.
Wow. That's worse than a Disney holiday.
Yeah. It was, but to be quite frank, I don't always listen to the Diz. I will put my hands up. I don't very often listen to other podcasts because as a podcaster, you want the ideas that you share on your show to be unique. You want them to be your own. And if I listen to other people's shows, subliminally, sometimes I might steal ideas and I don't want to do that. So I try and avoid it. But, I do listen to WDW Happy Place just because it's listening to Sam and Ashley. And I listen to, Diz Down Under because it's listening to Cat and Lewis. And I'll listen every now and again to Diz After Dark because I think the boys are hysterical. But Diz Unplugged is one of the shows that, for some reason, I just stopped listening. And to be honest, after listening to the last few weeks, I'm mad at myself for stopping listening because out of all the podcasts out there, I think they are one of the most genuinely honest shows there. They will say if something is not good. Yeah. And I think you've got to do that to get some credibility. And we had the Q&A session with Pete Werner, who is the man behind the whole podcast and the Disboards and everything. And he was very honest and open and upfront. You know, when they get to do something because they've been invited by Disney, they say so. And very few others do.
Yes, fair point, yeah.
So it was a lovely meet. I was just very comatose. And obviously this week, as this is going out on Sunday, I will be driving my son over to university and tucking him in to his new home. Yeah. So there's no on this day in Disney history this week. I'm sorry, guys. He's got all his packing to do and preparation. So, but we will get back into the swing of it, I promise.
Yeah, busy times, isn't it?
It is. We also, and I announced this the other day, was Kevin had actually won the guessing the weight of the suitcases, so I was able to give him his prize in person.
Oh, that was nice.
That was lovely. But last week's show, and thank you so much for those of you who reached out via messages or Twitter or Instagram or commenting on the pictures, that have just touched base and said, wow, I really enjoyed that show. I found it really useful. It was lovely to hear all of that, so thank you. But this week we're going to move away from the cruise line, and I think we're going to talk a little bit about Walt Disney World.
Oh, did you go there as well, Michelle?
I did. And I want to sort of share a little bit of the process going, because I was travelling to Walt Disney World as a solo traveller. And because of financial reasons, I flew from an airport that was 4.5 hours drive away.
Yes, which is, I have to admit, is quite often what we end up doing as well, Michelle.
Now, if you are from the UK, and I know our UK listenership is increasing, what I had to do was I priced up every single airport in the UK to find out which would be cheapest, clearing cookies on the way in between. And I don't mean I was having a cup of tea and dinking in some biscuits. I mean that whole internet thing where if you clear your cookies, they don't remember you and they don't put the price up.
Yeah, it's very annoying, that, isn't it?
Worked out that because I was a member of British Airways Flying Club, if I flew from Leeds Bradford, it would be £950, and Leeds Bradford is like 5 miles from me.
Quite handy.
But if I flew from Gatwick, it would be £400 cheaper. Because I was able to use my flying miles on that particular flight.
That's very annoying though, isn't it? That you've got to travel 4.5 hours just to be able to take advantage of something.
Yeah, so what we did is on the day before we drove down to Gatwick, stayed at a hotel, and my partner did the same on the Saturday as I was coming back on the Sunday, so that we could drive back on the Sunday. So it still worked out. I'd saved £250. Yeah. The flight was brilliant. It was Gatwick straight through to MCO. But I did have a little bit of a hiccup.
A hiccup, Michelle?
So I'm not going to go through the entire long story because it will go on for a while. But basically I was sat in the airport, ready to board the plane. Luckily the plane was delayed. I found out my daughter was at an event the night before where there had been a shooting, so my mind just started getting really frantic just finding this information out at the airport as I'm about to board a plane, and someone had stolen her mobile phone, and this was the second phone she'd had stolen in the space of 3 months. So luckily I was able to touch base with her before I got on the plane, but it did sort of panic me out just for a short while.
I'm going to say, I remember that not so long ago, yeah. Bless her cotton socks.
Really upset me. And I know it's not about Disney, but my mindset then of getting on that plane was, 1, relief.
Yeah. And then
2,
and anger as well, I'd imagine.
Yeah. And then bankruptcy, because Mum had to send her some money to go buy a new phone, because I wasn't going to leave her without a phone.
Oh, no.
So that was the Dooney and Burke money gone.
Oh, no.
So, hence, everybody's been asking, why didn't I buy the Haunted Mansion Dooney and Burke bag? Because some scumbag stole my daughter's phone, and my daughter comes first. I'm sorry, the kids always come first. I can quite happily live without a Dooney and Burke.
Yeah, priorities in life and all that.
Absolutely. So, gets on the plane, and I was quite lucky that the 2 seats next to me were vacant.
Oh, that's unusual.
And I sat down and I was all nice and comfy, and there was a family sort of not the opposite row but in front of the opposite row to the right hand side. And well, I've never seen a family force feed a child as much junk in my life.
Really?
He was crying, oh, have a chocolate bar. He was crying, have a can of Coke. He was crying, have a packet of crisps. Well, you can guess what happened next.
Yeah, not pleasant.
He threw up, plastering all of their seats and them in vomit.
Nice.
Yeah, so bye-bye Michelle's extra 2 seats, because that family had to then come and sit next to me while their seats were decontaminated and covered in plastic, because literally chocolate-covered vomit sprayed the airplane.
That's not pleasant.
It wasn't. So top tip, please be thinking about what you feed yourself and your children on a plane. Anyway, I arrive, slightly delayed, and I am met by the lovely Sharon Alicia. And do you know what? If you could imagine an angel that walks amongst us, it is Sharon, because she drove 2 hours out of her day, out of her journey way, to meet me at the airport, just to pick me up and take me on to where I needed to go.
Oh, that's lovely of her.
It was so sweet. And admittedly, we were a little bit later than anticipated, so I said, look, Sharon, let's not bother going to Walmart. Let's just go to the hotel, we'll get something to eat. And she said, well, I'll just drop you at the hotel. And, she had an early start the next day. So we managed to find my room.
Oh, bless her.
And bless her, she then toddled off another 2 hours back the other way.
Oh, so kind.
I know. I just wanted to give her a big hug because I felt so bad taking so much out of her day. Anyway, it set my holiday off to a good start, because after all the kerfuffle with Bryony, it was really lovely just to meet somebody and give them a big old hug and say hello.
Yeah.
So the next thing we did, well, I got all sorted, and the first resort I was at was All Star Movies.
Oh, I stayed there a lot of years ago.
Well, it was probably the same decor, Jayne, because they're in the process at the moment of revamping All Star.
Right.
We got an old room because we didn't pay for a preferred room.
No, okay.
And we were staying in the section called the Mighty Ducks.
Right, that wasn't where I stayed, but yeah, go on.
And it was quite near, to be honest, to All Star Music. So we fathomed out, instead of walking all the way to the All Star Movies bus stop, we could walk to the All Star Music bus stop and get there quicker.
Yeah.
So that's a top tip.
Yes, because you have to be careful with the All-Stars, because there's 3 hotels, isn't there? So the bus tends to go, if my memory serves me right, it's like a big loop.
Well, they've changed that.
Have they?
Yeah.
Have they got their own individual buses now?
They have indeed.
Ah, much better.
Which is, because you can imagine it, the first one they go to, they'll fill up.
Yeah, yeah.
And I must admit, several times over the vacation, I was seeing the bus stops having lines of about 3-4 bus loads.
Oh, yeah.
That was... Anyway, got unpacked, had a little bit of something to eat, met up with the holiday buddy. The room itself, I was very, very happy with.
Right.
It had 2 double beds. It had plenty of storage space. It had a bath with shower over, and then it had a toilet cum sink area, which when you're travelling with a friend is really good, because if they're in the bathroom, you can have the toilet area and the sink area to do your titivating, rather than waiting for them to get out of the shower to go to do your business.
Yes, I see where you're going with that, Michelle.
Now, the room wasn't refurbished, but it was perfectly acceptable. It was a little bit dark. That was my only criticism, but the beds were incredibly comfortable. It was spacious enough. It was clean.
Well, that's what you want, really, isn't it?
It was a value resort. I'm not expecting duck-down comforters, for heaven's sake. I've paid a value price. I got a value product.
Yes, exactly.
We chose to opt out of housekeeping.
Okay.
And we was on a 6-night stay. So they knock a night off, and then give you $10 a night. So we got a $50 gift card emailed to us.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that was good. Our first day, we decided we had to go to the Magic Kingdom because I knew the Halloween party was starting on that Friday, and I wanted to go in the park to see pre-Halloween decorations to get some pictures.
And did you? Was it all pre? Was it? They hadn't put anything up at that point.
I did. It was literally the following time we went in. It looked like Halloween had been thrown up all over the park.
It is a weird one, though, with them doing Halloween so early on, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, yes, they did have the greeting thing outside that was advertising Mickey's Not So Scary, but everything else was brilliant. And I must just stop for a moment and say a big thank you to Stephen, because when he went last year to Universal Studios Hollywood, he incredibly kindly picked me up a You Are Here Starbucks mug.
Ah.
And kept hold of it all this time.
Oh, bless.
So I thought that was really kind of him.
Yay.
Yeah. Our first endeavour for that day was rope dropping at the Seven Dwarfs, and we managed to do that.
Nice one. That good starts the break.
Yeah, so we hung out and we just sort of pottered around, and we just walked past things and saw if the line was low. We went in it. We utilised our fast passes. One thing that was interesting, when we got off Space Mountain, the traditional queue exit line where you go up those escalators that are like travelators,
Yeah.
They're not in commission at the moment.
Okay.
So you go out the back exit and there's cast members present to help and escort you over the train tracks.
Oh, okay.
So you come out to the side where the speedway is.
Right, got you, yeah.
So that was very interesting. And then, because I love my Jayne, I had to do a little bit of TTA.
It is the law.
Well, it's a walk-on, and we just pottered around and had a really enjoyable first day in the Magic Kingdom.
Oh.
There was some very interesting things that we saw on the way and did. We had our lunch at Be Our Guest, and we decided to eat in the West Wing, which is the darker one. And I'm a big fan of the lunches.
Yeah.
But I will just say, last year when we went, we didn't pre-order.
Okay.
And you had to wait, and the wait was ridiculous. This time we pre-ordered the food on that morning, and it was a lot quicker system. We just literally got into Be Our Guest restaurant, and instead of going right to queue up again to place the order, we went to the left, paid for our meal, and then found a table until the food was brought to us. So last year, Be Our Guest lunch took me about an hour and 20 with all the lining up. This time it took 45 minutes.
Ah, so order ahead is the motto there then.
Absolutely is. We just pottered around, had a look at the merchandise, and then moved on for our first evening meal, which was at Skipper's Canteen. However, we did leave before dessert.
Oh, all right.
The food was beautiful. I had a children's meal, which was absolutely sensational. It was cauliflower rice with prawns and broccoli.
Nice. That sounds yummy.
It was really good. I had 4 really big prawns and big pieces of broccoli, and the cauliflower rice had vegetables in. It was really good, and the price was something ridiculous, like $13.
Yeah, very healthy as well.
Yeah, we would have stayed for dessert,
but
there was a table just behind us, and they were having some behaviour issues with the family.
Okay.
And literally, after 45 minutes of dealing with the child screaming, we left.
Oh, that's very annoying.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to go through day by day with Walt Disney World, but I would like to sort of discuss a few things that I saw or did or enjoyed. One thing that is particularly troubling me at the moment in Walt Disney World is what people are choosing to wear.
In what respect, Michelle? Is it not tasteful?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
I was sat on the train and the gentleman in front of me was wearing a baseball cap. Now, you kind of think, well, that's kind of important in this weather.
Yes, heat and all that, and yes.
And at the back, it had embroidered a rude 4-letter word.
Really?
And then the name of an American president.
Okay, I'm kind of guessing what it might have said, Michelle.
Now, all I can say is that I am not going to go into politics on this podcast, but what I am going to discuss is what you are wearing in a child-friendly zone is important. And it's a family fun day out. So you should not be wearing obscenities. You should not be wearing a top that is cut so low I can see the top of your underwear nickel elastic.
Yeah, I think it's just common courtesy, isn't it? If you get in a family-orientated place, that you dress accordingly. It's not a time to be showing flesh or displaying expletives.
Exactly. So that wasn't great. And because it was on the train, I didn't really have an opportunity to point them out to a cast member, because if it would have been in a queue or something like that, I would have done, because it just wasn't.
No. We can just imagine it, can't you? A small child reading it out loud or whatever.
Well, exactly. Oh, Mummy, what does that word mean?
Yeah.
So the next thing I'm sort of going to move on to, and this is a biggie for me, is interaction with others.
Okay.
And this basically were part of the highlights of the whole holiday for me, was while I was waiting in line, just chatting to the people around me. We was in the queue to meet Chip and Dale, and admittedly, it was a very long queue. And normally I wouldn't bother meeting Chip and Dale, but they were in their dinosaur onesies.
Oh, I love them.
It was so cute. So we decided to meet Chipmunkosaurus.
Oh.
I got chatting with the couple in front of us. They were from Japan. And they were on their honeymoon.
Oh.
And the gentleman was wearing this amazing Castaway Key man's Hawaiian shirt. So immediately I had to find out where he got it so I could go buy one. And the family behind us, they were originally from Australia, but now living in the United States. And they'd just come back off the Disney Cruise Line. So that was fab. Absolutely fab. But that's just an example of enriching your holiday just by talking to people around you, and it really did make the time in that line pass.
Oh yeah, so it's twofold, isn't it? One, you get to find out about other parts of the world and other people's experiences that might help you with your own. Great way to pass the time. We've done it many times, just talking to random people on boats and goodness knows what else.
Absolutely. We had a great day at Animal Kingdom that day. It was sensational. So Festival of the Lion King, and every time it just gets me. It really does. It just grabs me by the heart and gives me a hug. I've got a little bit of a video I'm going to share about the walker suit from Avatar, from Pandora. Yeah. So I will be sharing that. And managed to get over to Epcot, and we decided to dine at Tokyo Dining. And this was a place I'd never eaten at before.
Oh, and would you recommend?
I had sushi there, and it was very, very nice, but the downside was the restaurant temperature was set to freezer.
and even for Florida summer, that was a bit too extreme, was it?
Yeah, because it was raining outside, so it wasn't brilliant. But I'm going to share a top tip with you all now. After dining, we went outside of the restaurant, and you know the big sort of like pagoda type building?
Yeah.
You can stand there and watch the fireworks.
Yeah.
But you don't have had to have eaten there. Anybody can stand there.
Yes, you can, yes, because you just walk up, can't you?
Yeah. Well, I thought you needed the dining reservation.
But you don't.
No. So that's a top tip. If you want to see illuminations from an elevated position, that to me was lovely. Stephen got the bento box, which is a little bit of everything. And that, if you're not so sure on the cuisine, you know, you had a bit of sushi, you had a bit of chicken, you had a bit of tempura, you had a bit of steak. Absolutely lovely.
Nice, sounds lovely.
It was really good, and as I say, the sushi I had was exceptional. The service was so impeccable. You know, the Japanese do one thing right, and that is respect.
I'm going to say they are extremely proud of how they treat people, I think is probably the best way to put it.
Yeah. Now we're whizzing on to my first Hollywood Studios day.
Oh, okay.
Whilst I was there, Hollywood Studios was opening at 7 a.m.
That's nice and bright and early.
It had an extra magic hour, 7 till 8, and then it went into normal opening. Some days it opened at 8 for magic hours, so it just varied. We decided to get there 20 minutes before extra magic hours.
Right, okay.
So you can tell we got up very early.
Very early, yeah.
Incredibly early. And we decided to go and do, not Slinky Dog first, we went on Midway Mania.
Uh-huh.
And then we went on Slinky Dog.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went on Alien Swirling Saucers. And we managed to hit the 3 all within that first hour.
Crikey, that's good going.
So, you know what Midway Mania is like, but let me just take you back a step to help you visualise, because I didn't appreciate this, because I didn't watch any videos or anything. If you are at One Man's Dream, and that is to your right-hand side,
Yes.
normally to get to Midway Mania, you would go straight on, and you go through like an archway with the big Pixar Studios thing,
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's now blocked off.
Oh, okay.
You go round to your right at that point,
Yeah.
and what you will see is the welcome from Sheriff Woody and the big bold sign with Toy Story Land on it.
Oh, I see, okay.
And then behind him there is normally Buzz meets and greets there.
Okay.
So that is in that sort of area. And to the left-hand side is the new queue area for Midway Mania.
The kind of going in the back of the old building?
Yeah. When I was there never really was a massive line for Midway Mania. You know, before it used to be 90 minutes, 120 minutes.
I was going to say, yeah, that was a dive over there for Fast Pass job, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's now it's found a sweet spot going up to about 45 minutes, but I didn't see it as long as it used to be.
What, 45 minutes does me? I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah. We went to go into the standby line for Slinky Dog Dash.
Mm-hmm.
And can I just say, the theming in the queue is brilliant.
Yeah.
It is a hot queue because there isn't a great deal of fans. There are some industrial fans, but not a great deal. And I'm sure other podcasters, you'll have heard them say about the lack of shade in that part of the park.
It's very out there, isn't it? Yeah.
One thing that did surprise me was when you get to certain parts of the queue, there are big walls with like vinyl sort of stickers type of thing printed onto the wall.
Mm.
The amount that had been ripped off really hurt me.
Yeah, well, I remember you putting a post about this on Facebook, Michelle, and I thought, crikey, it's only been open, 2 months or something? It's ridiculous that people just feel that they can go along and do that sort of thing.
Now, the kind-hearted part of me thinks, well, maybe it's because somebody's just turned round and knocked it with the backpack and then someone's just sort of pulled it away.
Mm.
I don't know. I like to think the good in everybody, but it is looking incredibly shabby.
Well, that isn't good. Let's hope Disney do something about that to stop that happening then.
True. You know, maybe electrify the barrier. I don't know.
Yeah, just taser people from afar.
Now, Slinky Dog itself, the first thing I will mention is the incredibly generous leg room it's been given.
Okay.
So if you are, you know, of a larger size, you will not feel constrained in this vehicle.
Oh, right. Okay, got you.
The ride itself, I would put, as Daniel said on the other week's show when he was reviewing it, it's more intense than Seven Dwarfs.
Right.
And I think to get the best out of it, you need to ride it daytime and nighttime.
Oh, it's 2 different experiences, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will state one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try and ride it during fireworks.
Right, because?
Because when we did that, all the sort of wind was blowing straight in our face and we just got a face full of grit.
Ah, yes, that can't be pleasant.
It wasn't pleasant. Before we left, we went to eat at the one and only eatery there.
Yes, the lunchbox, whatever it's called.
The Lunchbox. And again, we did mobile ordering.
Okay.
And there isn't a great deal of seating.
No.
And there is a long line. And it's a bit disappointing that in this supposed new land, there is only one place to get food.
Yeah, well, I suppose that was always something when they were announcing seemed a bit strange, didn't it?
Yeah. Now, Stephen got the s'mores French toast, which I wasn't overly impressed by. It was incredibly sweet.
Mm.
I got the pastry, the hazelnut pastry, which was meant to look a bit like a pop tart.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I remember seeing photos of that, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a shortbread biscuit.
Right.
I can say I've eaten it once, but to me it was very dry. It wasn't very tasty, and a couple of mouthfuls and I was done.
I'm going to say, it doesn't sound like you're going to be rushing back there, Michelle, anytime soon.
No. And I think the final thing I'll mention is the alien swirling saucers.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting it to be quite a replica feel to Mater's Junkyard Jamboree.
Oh, okay, yes, yeah. No, is it not?
No, it didn't have the feels for me. I think I can't just quite put my finger on it, whether it's just not got the right level of swing or whether it's the fact that it's just music playing rather than songs playing. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. It just doesn't have the same fun value.
Okay.
But what I will say is Disney are doing a fantastic job on their themed merchandise. There's amazing earrings, t-shirts, hoodies. It is sensational what they've done. There's some brilliant items you can purchase.
Really?
Absolutely. I could have gone mad, as I say, and bought loads of things.
Yeah, beware credit cards.
Absolutely. I love Hollywood Studios. We were able to do quite a lot of things. You know, we did the Indiana Jones stunt show. We saw the Beauty and the Beast show. We basically went round everything.
Yeah.
But a particular highlight for me personally was being able to try the carrot cake cookie and basically prove that our good friend, our lovely listener Marla, who earlier in the year tried it for us, and she was like, oh, I'm not keen on it. I think they've changed the recipe because it was sensational.
Ah, so you really liked it. Better than it was.
I think it's better because you have 2 slabs of cake. It's basically, if you know what a whoopie pie is,
yes,
it's like they've got a whoopie pie and they've irradiated it and made it go bigger. And it's huge. Seriously, one of these sliced into 4 would quite easily give everyone enough of a sugar hit for the day. So I shared it with Stephen, and when I say shared, he got 3/4, I got 1/4. But the highlight in Hollywood Studios, apart from the foodie, was something I'd never done before, and that was the Little Mermaid show.
You'd never done the Little Mermaid, Michelle?
No.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't know what it was, and I never bothered, but it was amazing. I love it. If you've never done it, go in.
Oh, it's a lovely little show, yeah.
Absolutely loved it. That's sort of then getting towards nearly rounding off our first week, and there's a few things I would like to just quickly sort of gloss over because I know we're running short on time. Typhoon Lagoon.
Yes.
Oh my word, I had such a fun time.
Oh, cool.
Got there at opening and we managed to bash off every single ride we wanted to. Then had some lazy river time. Then we got to meet Stitch.
Oh, nice.
So that to me was sensational. It was a really fun time. We didn't have time to go back and do Blizzard Beach because we wanted to fit that in. But I felt that I'd had a really good water park experience.
Oh, please.
We went that day also to Homecoming Kitchen.
Nice.
And can I just say, if you have not eaten there and you're planning Walt Disney World as a destination, you have to book an ADR for that restaurant.
That good.
It is sensational. I ordered the chicken tenders on the kids' menu and it came with 2 sides. And I said, look, I don't really want the macaroni and cheese, but I got it for Stephen so he could have that. But the side I got was Brussels sprouts. And I never thought you could have Brussels sprouts you would literally eat before chicken.
Really, that good?
They'd cooked them in water and boiled them, cut them in half, sautéed them in butter, and then covered them in something akin to like a red currant or cranberry jelly, and served them in this little pot. Oh my word.
Sounds delish.
They were divine. Absolutely divine. I can't praise that place high enough. The food was delicious. Absolutely delicious.
Wow.
The very last highlight I'm going to talk about week 1 is going to be under the heading of Dis Down Under. I met up for the very first time with Kat and Lewis at the security at Magic Kingdom at 10 o'clock on that first week. And we had like 45 minutes plodding round. I think we ended up going on the People Mover together. And that was it. And we just sort of had a chat. But I knew straight away we hit it off. The next day we went to Disney Springs. and we went in the dress shop. And within 10 minutes of me and Kat being left alone, we had managed to clear every dress in the dress shop and take up residency in one of those big changing rooms. And before we knew it, we were best buddies, pulling each other's zips up, pulling dresses on, pulling dresses off, taking pictures. And when we realised the dresses had pockets, oh my word, the tears flowed with laughter. It was a highlight of the holiday. It really was.
All I've got now in my head, Michelle, is some sort of, you know, those 80s movies where they'd have a little montage of somebody trying on loads of outfits in the changing room. That's what I've got going around in my head now, of you and Kat doing that together.
That's what it was. The pictures I've got in my book, there's us two trying on the same dress, trying on different dresses. Kat would try one on, and I'd say, oh, you've got that size, can I try that size? And we'd be whipping. Oh, it was so funny. Seriously, hysterically funny. And it just goes to show that that's a highlight of the trip. You don't necessarily need to be in a theme park to have a highlight. The theme park itself is a place you go to have the experiences, and the experiences might not be on an attraction or at a show. It could be the interactions that you have there.
Yeah, and how many times we said that, Michelle? It's about the people and the things that you do, not the things that you go on.
Absolutely, and the people made this trip. They really, truly did.
Oh, sounds awesome.
Yeah, it really was. So that basically is week 1 of the Walt Disney World experience.
Okay.
I haven't yet included a review of going to California Grill. I'm going to include that with some dining on another show, because last year my experience of Cali Grill was awful.
I remember.
I had a very different experience this time.
Oh, that sounds positive then, Michelle.
Yeah, so I will talk about that at a later time. This is going to be a slightly shorter show than last week's. I know last week was a bit of a bumper. But that's purely because I'm sure you'll all appreciate my son going off to uni. Our first week, full week back at education. We were really, really flat out and busy this week. So we just wanted to bring you some content.
Yeah, time is of the essence and all that, isn't it?
Yeah, and then we'll get back into the swing of it over the next few weeks. But please, guys, please keep an eye on our Facebook page. I've brought back so many goodies. I'm going to be doing giveaways and all sorts. So please, you know, don't just give it a like, give it a comment, get involved, share it with your friends. You know, if you know someone who loves Disney podcasts, get them to give us a go.
Yay. We're not too bad, are we, at this old game?
We're not indeed. And we're going to end off by giving you some places you can find us. Our website will have pictures and all sorts of things going on over there. Show notes, that's DisneyDreamGirls.com. Instagram and Twitter at DisDreamGirls. If you have a question, comment or anything at all you want to say, it's info at DisneyDreamGirls.com. And you can also get in touch with us via Facebook by searching for Disney Dream Girls, giving our page a like and communicating with us there. And we really do, seriously, please, contact us, get in touch with us. We love hearing from you. You know, we met through Jayne's husband doing that exact same thing by reaching out and messaging me.
It's a good friendship start.
Absolutely, the best friendship you could ever wish for. So please, guys, we do love to hear from you. We're not just saying that. You make the show, you make this worthwhile for us.
Definitely.
So, Jayne, shall we put a wrap on it and say goodbye from me?
Oh, and goodbye from me too.